obviously changed now, but like, well, before you guys had COVID.
Yeah, so before all this, so there's three of us that are news reporters and anchors. So in a normal situation, there's a morning person, a midday person, and an afternoon person. And I'm technically the afternoon person. I kind of forget that nowadays. So the morning person gets in and is live on the air from 5 to 9 a.m., sporadically doing newscasts at the top and bottom of every hour for multiple radio stations. So like she'll do a 5:04 and then a 5:30 and then a 5:50 on a second radio station, and then you go 6:04, 6:20, 6:30, 6:40, and then 7 o'clock. So like 5 newscasts an hour. So you're not on the air the whole time, but you come in and do like 2 or 3 minutes at each interval on our different radio stations from like 5 to 9 a.m. for her. And then in a normal world, I would be then, actually Stan, our other person, would do 11 a.m. through 3 p.m. newscasts, same kind of thing, top and bottom, and then I would do the 3 to 5 o'clock block. But because we have fewer newscasts in the afternoon, we would do more of the story generation than the morning person. Because when we're not on the air doing the actual delivering the news, we're reporting. We're doing interviews and going out to stories and talking to people and getting the news ready for the next person's shift. So the morning person would get stuff ready for the midday person, midday for afternoon, and afternoon for next morning.
Yeah.
So now I just spend all my time. Now actually our morning person is doing all our newscasts, and she's actually recording the midday and the afternoon ahead of time. So she does the morning live. She comes in, does the morning live, and then records the midday and the afternoon. And me and the other guy just write and report news stories for her to read the next day.
Okay. So have you worked all the shifts, or?
Yeah, I've done them. Yeah, it's all the same. It's just different time. You know.
What's your favorite time?
I mean, I like what I'm doing now a lot. The morning's fun though because that's when the most people are listening, and that's when it feels most like a show. Like in the morning, there's a host, and he's kind of running thing, and then you got the sports guy Josh Goldberg, and then you're doing the news, and so like in between newscasts and stuff, you're live on the air, kind of just joking around, or here's this funny thing we saw, or talking. It's a whole like production. Whereas more in the afternoon, midday, you sort of just fill in a slot, or a cog in the machine, where it's like commercial, and now we go to you for your newscast, and now we go to the next thing that's going on. Whereas the morning kind of all flows together, and we'll do, here's your newscast, but then you hang on after your newscast, and we'll do this, and we'll bring you back on for something else later on, and you get to be kind of part of a show.
Yeah. But you're kind of performing more than just like recording.
Yeah, definitely. But getting up at 3:45 to come into work.
That's what I would hate.
So that's what I like about this is that like if our morning person is on vacation or whatever, one of us has to come in. I don't mind doing it once a month.
Yeah.
Get up. It's it's a fun little thing. Or and we all rotate Saturday mornings too, where we'll do Saturday morning shift. But I don't mind getting up early and doing it every once in a while. Would not want to do it every day.
Yeah. So how often did you wake up early in the morning for like pre-COVID?
Oh, almost never. I mean, I would.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I would get into work at 11 a.m. pre-COVID every day.
Oh,
I'd go like 11 to 5 or 6. And
that's perfect.
My boss would think I worked 8 hours, but I did not. And I certainly do not now.
I took 3 lunches. It's okay.
Well, I come in at 11 o'clock and then I leave for lunch at like noon and come back at like 1:30 and then stay till like 5, 6 o'clock and then get out of there.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you have like night meetings. There's a city council meeting at 7 o'clock. So like you leave work and then either come back for that or go to the council meeting, and that's another couple hours that tags on. So like, our boss and stuff is basically just like, if you can kind of stay close to 40 hours by the time a whole week's done, that's cool. So It's not always going to be 8 hours every day, but there's some flexibility there.
That's cool. Yeah. Who inspires you most with podcasting and radio? That's
a good question.
Like starting out, or right now, or when you're going to school? Is there something you always looked up to?
Yeah, I guess I was never a big like radio guy for a long time. So like I really enjoy the Dan Le Batard show on ESPN Radio.
Oh yeah, he's funny.
It's just because those guys are just so funny, and they do it so differently than anybody else. Like no one does what they do. I mean, it's a comedy show disguised as a sports show. I mean, they get into a lot of other stuff too, and there's a lot of like inside jokes and stuff. But that was kind of a late development for me. I wasn't like growing up listening. I mean, they weren't even a thing more than 10, 15 years ago. But like, it wasn't until like late college / even since I started working on the radio that I really like listened closely to them, and I like that idea of like doing something unique. I still don't feel like I do, what I mean? But it's like what I strive. I want to be able to do something unique and different, and that adds something new to the space. So I'm not just saying the same things or doing the same things that everybody else is already doing.
Yeah, But you know sports really well. Like you and Kyle kind of have that like obsessive. I mean, it's like a
Yeah.
good, you know, it's like you have to.
You're not wrong.
You didn't play in the NFL or college, so like you have to know the game so well that it's like secondhand nature to you. So it's like I like hearing people give their sports takes and they know what they're talking about versus like, I mean, I don't know football, so I don't really expand on it. But,
Yeah.
like basketball, I try to like give my knowledge because I kind of know it, but I hear people talk about sports and they're like, yeah, that's not good. They'll say something like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like
He was bad today. Yeah. We all saw. Yeah.
what's the one dude? Colin Collinsworth.
Colin Cowherd or Chris Collinsworth? Radio host or the TV guy?
They're both like
Chris Collinsworth is technically my boss, so
my bad.
no.
My bad, Chris.
I have gotten emails before from Chris Collinsworth.
Really?
Yeah, I have.
That's sweet.
I sat in his office, but he was not there. He was not there
Wow.
today, and I was invited to a party that he was hosting, but I couldn't attend. So I was.
Where's he live?
Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
I was feet from where Chris Collinsworth lives, but we never crossed paths. It was very disappointing.
Wow. I think he knows a lot about sports, but some of the stuff he says is so. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
Long legs you got. Some of the stuff he says is just kind of like obvious, and obviously that's what you're supposed to do during a game. But I don't know. I guess just him with Joe Buck, you know, talking about sports, and then people tweet me like, "Oh, get your uncle." I'm like, "That's not my uncle, Joe Buck," you know.
Well, and yeah, Joe does it with Troy Aikman, and it's Chris and Al Michaels on NBC.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
See, I don't even know.
Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and it's Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on Fox.
Okay. And then
They were all very much in the same boat.
Yeah, Troy Aikman, I do like listening to him because he breaks the game down in a sense of like, if you don't know this, let me walk you through what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know football like plays like the nickel defense.
That's why I love Tony Romo so
Yeah.
much. He's so good at it.
Or Tony Romo.
Yeah.
I said Troy Aikman.
Well, Troy Aikman's with Joe Buck, but it's Tony Romo and Jim Nance
Oh,
on CBS.
God.
It's their number one
Okay,
broadcast.
I went
team.
to public school, so
Me too. It's that Parker graduation.
I know, right?
You know, they
Yeah.
don't teach anything there.
But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I like listening to Tony Romo.
Yeah.
But
And see, like that's the kind of thing I try and strive towards. Again, I'm not. Tony Romo played NFL quarterback at a high level for like a dozen years.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
yeah.
really good. But like, you know, I do the Pro Football Focus. That helps. I feel like that gives me some credibility and helps me be a little bit different than everybody else. But I still feel like there's so many really talented people that know a lot about football that do a podcast. And I'm like,
yeah.
how does mine stand out?
Right.
You know.
Do you feel almost guilty that like you haven't played, but you're still giving your thought on it? Like, am I worthy of this? Like, does that go through your mind at all, or no?
Sometimes, I don't know. I like to think that I've put in enough work. I mean, I've been grading games at PFF for 5 years now, where we sit down and we grade every player on every play of every game.
Yeah.
And so
You've done your time.
I feel like I've put in some pretty good time and learned some things. Like I guess I sort of try and I try and look around and say, okay, well, are the things I'm saying different or better or more accurate than other people saying similar things?
Yeah.
And I think there are always going to be people that know more about football than you, especially people that played or coached at a really high level.
Right.
But I feel like I feel pretty confident that I know more than the average fan at home who has been in the same place that I am, where you never played at a high level. But I feel like I know and can illustrate more. But then it's really like, how do you do that in an informative, fun, and entertaining way?
Yeah.
Too is the other thing. It's like you might know everything in the world, but if you can't make it entertaining and enjoyable for people, then it doesn't no good for you anyway. So it's sort of a double-edged sword there, and kind of a two-pronged thing where not only do you have to know a lot about the game, but then you have to know how to convey that in an interesting and effective way. And that's another area where I feel like I need to be better too.
I do appreciate like people like you who haven't played. I appreciate your perspective and like outlook on things, because that's more relatable than like a Tony Romo per se. It's like,
yeah,
Tony Romo would be talking. I'm like, dude, I never played. I played quarterback in 8th grade. Like, I sucked. I was like a bad Tim Tebow,
Yeah.
So it's like the perfect scenario for listening to a game would be like a person like you and like Tony Romo, so you can get like both sides of like more relatable. Just watching the game and you know a lot about it, like yourself, or someone who's actually played and be like, oh yeah, so when you're in this moment, so it's like kind of like that banner back and forth. I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah, because you kind of have to cater to different groups of people at the same time. Because like you want to provide in-depth, informative, innovative, new analysis. You want to tell people things that they didn't notice or wouldn't have been able to see on their own, or just for whatever reason you caught that other people wouldn't. But you don't want it to be completely over your head, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to come out and tell them all about the the 3 deep zone blitz and why this linebacker was in cloud coverage versus us more of a flat zone. Like terminology becomes too difficult for people to get lost.
Yeah.
But you want to still be able to provide them that extra level of understanding so that they better understand what they're seeing on television. So like, it's that's one of the things I struggle with too. Is like, how do you don't want to dumb it down and be condescending. Like, this is man coverage and he is supposed to cover. But like,
so you see the little guy with your
like you don't want to treat them like they're an idiot, but you don't want to go over the top and go way too in deep with terminology and stuff. So that's there's no formula for that. There's no manual on how to navigate that. I think that's sort of part of the art. Even not just the science of delivering it, but the art of like crafting your message. That's why I said like you can know everything in the world, but you can't deliver it in a palatable way. That's what's going to be difficult.
Yeah, you need that balance for sure.
Mm-hmm.